Well, time to see what this thing looks like after 9 3-second passes.
Everything up top looks really amazing. Like, I don't see anything wrong with any of the springs. I don't see anything wrong with any of the lifters. The rockers all look really good. I will sit down and go over every one of the push rods, go over every one of the rockers, go over every one of the lifters, all that stuff. But man, everything looks good so far. So we didn't have a whole lot going on today. The motor's sitting here. Put on Discovery Plus. We don't get a whole lot of time to watch all these shows. Like, I've never seen any of, what is this, the Fastest in America?
This is the Race Night in America.
Race Night in America. I haven't watched any of those. So we turned on Discovery Plus, and man, there's no commercials or nothing. So it's pretty cool that we can sit and watch this while we're tearing this deal down. But I don't know. There's some shit on there, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I ain't seen any of them.
This is a lot of guys that we know. Oh, man.
Hey, yeah. That engine is not happy.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that we know that we race with off of the show, and it's funny to see that they've changed their names.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not getting the cars.
The cars are the same.
It's funny.
There's a guy named Clem a minute ago. Yeah. So, but anyways, we are about to do a leak down. We're going to leak down all the cylinders before we pull the heads off of it. It's only got 10 passes on it, but we made a lot of boost. So
they're fighting. Nice.
Oh, they're two decent-sized dudes. Man, they're going to wear down quick.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he's fucking...
And punches already getting slower, though.
Yep. Hey, but still, old dude's had enough.
Ooh. Right in the ribs. That'll get you.
That car's like, nope. And people think that our show's fake.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happens at real street races. You know? I mean, the shit sometimes... There's a bunch of grown-ass men out there. A lot of testosterone flying around, you know? And shit like that happens. At least on our show, we kind of keep it to a minimum, you know? It's just yelling, and everybody's like, oh, 405 always backstabs each other. Well, and that's what happens whenever you're out there trying to win, you know? You do whatever you got to do, you know? You lie, you cheat, whatever you got to do to win. So some of them are just better at it, you know? We're gonna leak it down. 10 passes. Head gaskets are kind of scarce right now, you know? SEC is... SCE. SCE. I always call it SEC.
Yeah.
We've been watching a lot
Sometimes
of
you like football, man.
We've been watching a lot of football. Everybody talking about how SEC is the best.
Yeah, whatever.
And then OU fucked them up.
Yeah.
So SCE, you know, is having a hard time getting out head gaskets right now. So if I don't have any problems with these head gaskets, I'm probably going to use them back. So
nothing really wrong with the motor that we can tell, just, you know, from glancing at the oil filter and everything like that. But after 10 passes, pretty much as hard as we can go, we want to see what this thing looks like to kind of give us an idea of where we're going to be when we start beating on this thing.
When we start beating on this thing at NPK, we don't have a spare for this deal yet. We got one in the works. I just got off the phone this morning with CFE. They got my down payment. They finna start. They
better tie a brick on that check.
Yeah, exactly. Let me move some funds. Yeah. Tell them I post-dated that deal.
The way my checking account's set
up. And the same thing with Chuck Newton on the block. I sent him a deposit 2 weeks ago. These are the main things that take so long. So the main things that take so long are the crank, the heads, and the block. And I've got all 3 of them ordered already. So I talked to Jessel, got everything ordered through Jessel, rockers, lifters, front, so that hopefully we can have a spare long block sitting there waiting to go. But until then, I mean, all that stuff, it's going to be months out. So if we look at the bearings today and the bearings look good, everything looks cool, then we know, you know, we're going to be all right. But if there's some scarring on them, if there's bad scarring on them, then we're going to know 15 runs, possibly 20, we're going to have to roll bearings into this deal. And if that's what we got to do, that's what we'll do. It's not that big of a deal. Luckily, in the new stacker, we can roll the car all the way forward, and I can literally sit in a chair and pull the pan off the car, you know? So it sucks. I don't want to have to do that, but if that's what we got to do to keep this engine happy and make it, you know, a few more races, that's what we're going to do. But We ran it pretty hard. I don't see us running it any harder than what we did down there for them 10 passes. And so hopefully everything looks good. Hopefully the leak down that we're fixing to do right now is good. I've already taken all the rockers off. The lifters are out of it.
So what's a leak down do? What's
a leak down is going to tell me if there's any air getting by the head gaskets, the valves, the rings. You know, you got to kind of figure out where it's leaking. You can tell. If we do this leak down right here and it leaks down a whole lot, this is the leak down tool right here. I'll just explain. I'll just explain it from the beginning. So what you do is you turn this knob. You have to have an air compressor that makes at least 100 psi. I guess you probably don't, but then you got to figure out the math.
Right.
This deal's made to be 100. So whenever I plug this into the cylinder, it's going to run all the way over to 100, and then it's going to slowly start coming back up, and hopefully it's below 20. I've had them at 40 before. And as soon as you start making boosts, it seals them up. Most of the time, nitrous motors, they're always 30, 40. But like we said, when you put a nitrous motor together, it's already hurt. But we did this to the OG engine, the big block that we just pulled out, and the worst cylinder was like 12. So I was stoked about that.
12, it's a percentage of
how much air gets by in the cylinder. And it doesn't really matter how big the cylinder is, because that's why it always goes to 100. Because it takes a while to fill the cylinder up, and then lots of varies. Like it depends on how big your ring gaps are. That matters. It depends on how much piston slap is in there. If the piston doesn't really fit the cylinder, you know, there's a lot of stuff. You could have a leaky valve. If you have a leaky valve, it's pretty easy to tell. If it's leaking out of the intake, it's going to come out right here. Right on the intake. You'll be able to hear the air coming out of it. If it's leaking out the exhaust valve, sorry, I was pointing at the intake valve. If it leaks out the intake, it'll come out here. If it leaks out the exhaust, you're gonna hear it here. If you hear it in here, then it's leaking by the rings. So pretty simple. It's a lot easier to figure out where it's coming from when you got the intake and everything off of it and no exhaust on it. And also a lot of times we will, if you got a blown head gasket, it'll leak from cylinder to cylinder. So then it'll make pressure out the spark plug hole over here. So a lot of times I've had blown head gaskets where you plug this hole right here and then let off and you'll hear, you know, so.
That usually happens to me.
Hey, you know, that's when you fire slot from cylinder to cylinder. So we're going to.
Which way is this thing going to spin? Is it going to hit me?
It's not going to.
Oh. Oh yeah, the valve train's off.
Hey, it still could though.
Yeah.
It still could. The only reason I'm having you do that is you can manipulate these things a little bit. Whenever you do a leak down, you're supposed to, have the piston at top dead center. And that is the least amount of air that the cylinder is going to fill up. So we don't really care. If I see anything under 20, I normally don't even let it finish. But normally if it's in the car and I'm doing a leak down, I'll just bump the starter. And a lot of times when you move the piston up and down, it sets the ring a little bit better and you get a better seal. So you can put it on there and it can not be that good, and then you can roll the motor over a little bit and then all of a sudden it gets good, you know? So it doesn't really matter. If I see under 20, like I said,
We better hurry up and get down there.
okay, so you can definitely tell that wherever any of that is coming from, it's not coming from the head. That is, hear it in here? That's all coming, that's all going by the rings. So that means that you could probably roll the motor over right now and it's gonna get better. So try it. Boom, right there, look.
Can I roll it? God dang, man.
Yeah, no, a little bit of pressure on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna let go. It's gonna slap me in the face.
Let me see. Let me let it roll around the other way. Hear it? Okay, that's all you gotta do. What's that? What's that, 20?
It's like 19 and a half.
So we're going to call it 19.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to, I mean, we could sit and play with it and make it better. Like, look, that's 100% 19 right there, so we're going to call that 18.
Yeah.
That's the same way I buy cars.
Yeah.
If I pay 10 grand for something, I only bought it for 8.
Yeah. Maybe even 7,500.
It just depends.
What number is that?
This is number 8, and number 8 right now is dead nuts sitting on 18. We could still move the rings around a little bit, and did you hear it seal up?
Yeah.
You can literally hear it seal up, and that's just a little bit of the ring not being where it needs to be. But as soon as you start moving the piston up and down, the ring goes where it needs to be. Somebody out there is going to go, he's fucking wrong.
Oh yeah,
that's not right.
Oh, yeah.
That's not how you do it.
Yeah, all the old timers that watch our channel that been getting on us for not being able to get the Caprice started instantly. They're gonna tell us that we did it wrong.
That baby's purring like a kitten.
Like
the
a
only
dream.
reason it wouldn't start the other day is because the carburetor was so fucked
Well, and the
off.
feed line wasn't allowing any fuel to
Well,
pass.
but still, I've ran them off of just.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were
but
spraying stuff
it
in
wouldn't
there.
do shit.
Yeah.
So that baby's purring like a kitten now.
So just screw this thing into the spark plug hole.
Yep. And let me see where this one's at. Normally you can look in there and see where the piston is, and we don't. Let me see a light. We can see if it's close to the top. That's why it got better. But I promise you, if this thing isn't at the top, you could put it more towards the top, and it'll seal up even more than the 17 or 18. Oh yeah, see it's still way down there. You can't even see the you can't even see the piston.
Last one.
Last one.
They've all been pretty good.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. As long as this one, you know how it is, man. Always the last bolt is the one you got to cut out. Oh, this one's gonna be good. No, yeah. Look, I ain't even touched it yet. It's already down there.
Sealed.
Let's call it 15.
So leak down is good.
Leak down is good.
I'm gonna try to do a little better this year, keeping notes also. I'll probably lose this notebook before the day's over.
Okay, let me see. Roll that motor over. Just a little bit. Little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. Whoa. That's top center right there. We're gonna try this one. At top center.
Oh. Trying number 3 again here. Piston is confirmed, top dead center. We're probably out of air.
We are. It's plugged in, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, unless it fell out and that's why it shut itself off.
Oh yeah, no, we're under 100 PSI. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at it, it's already. Ah, it just rolled way over. Ah,
It's good.
we're good with 20.
Yeah.
Okay, just peeling off.
So with the leak down, okay, we don't really need to pull the heads off.
I'm not going to.
But we still want to look at the bearings. So, pulling the pan off, and we're going to look at them.
Yes. Remember when, well, we're still pretty stupid, but remember when we couldn't get this fucking pan off? And we had no idea what those extra holes were for, and we glue this thing on so well. because
we don't like oil leaks.
We don't like oil leaks. Man, I kicked on this and we beat on it with a hammer. That's why this is bent right here, by the way. This is this dent right there.
Boom.
We beat on it with a mallet, everything. The first time we took this pan off, now it was in the car, you know, but man, we were stupid. And then come to find out, they put this cool little deal on it right here.
Yep.
And all you do is screw in the same bolt that you just pulled out of it. Right there.
Pushes that pan right off of it.
Yep. Pushes the pan off and makes it way nicer. Oh, look at that. Remember when we had... That's right. I got it. Remember when we had windowed that right there?
I remember. Pepperidge Farm members. Yeah. You remember, we're so dumb. I'm so dumb. I crawled all underneath this thing after that pass looking to see where all the oil was coming from. Couldn't find it. Like, we put a new tune in the car and everything.
Fixing to go back up. It's ready.
Yeah, fixing to go back up there.
I'm looking at the tune going, no, something's not right.
Sean's walking to get in the car. And he just takes his jacket back off.
I literally had my jacket, and I was like, this thing's ready, you know? And we're fixing to go up there. Hell, we only made like a 420 pass, you know? And we were taking it easy on it, and everything was good. I was like, hell yeah, you know? And I was happy because, remember, the car had went straight?
Yeah.
And it was the first time we tried that different setup with the rear suspension. And so the car went straight. We were happy, you know? And we were like, okay, now let's put some boost to this thing. We only made 20, 30 pounds of boost.
Yeah, it wasn't very much at all.
20, 30 pounds of boost, something like that. And, man, we were stoked. We were like, hell yeah. And then, nah. I was like, man, something ain't right. Let's fire this thing up. We fired it up. We figured out real quick where all that oil came from.
Yeah.
It was the missing piston.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't going to work real well.
That's the first time we ever heard a motor, like, going down the track. It's the first time we ever broke a rod.
Yep. And then, boom, we did it 3 passes later in the old car.
Oh, but way worse.
Because steel rods.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to let this soak like this. Or, you know.
Holler at Moroso and get us another pan built for the new motor, the spare motor.
So, when Proline first built this motor, this pan was for this motor, but look where they had to come in here, and they had to cut every one of these out and re-weld them.
The rods didn't clear.
For it to fit. Yeah. So, if we send this to Moroso, maybe they can duplicate it. Because at the time, they didn't know.
Mm-mm. And this is the only motor like this in existence, basically.
Yeah.
So.
And then we changed all kinds of shit. Like, we don't use either one of these anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. I think there's another one on this side that we don't use.
Mm-hmm. Right there.
A couple of them.
Yep.
So.
Anything in there?
It's hard to tell. I don't really see anything because the oil's so thick. Got that good Maxima in it.
Mm-hmm. That stuff's slimy. You can't hardly clean it off the floor.
All right. I'm going to roll this thing over and do a little inspecting.
Aluminum rods look so cool.
Yeah. They're a lot more work, that's for sure. This is the first motor I ever had that had aluminum rods.
Sure, there's going to be comments about the $60,000 engine on the $60 engine stand too.
We know. We've already talked about it.
No, we know how dumb we are, people. We get it. That's why y'all watch.
Well, yeah, because we ain't no different than them. I say we just pick one. In my opinion, the I mean, 4's probably a pretty good one to look at. In my opinion, the crank is gonna bow the most in the middle, right?
One would think.
That's what I would think. And people are probably thinking, man, that billet crank ain't gonna bow. Man, I feel like it will.
This stuff still all moves. I don't care what it's made out of.
I feel like it does. Especially when you're making 70 pounds of boost and making, 3,800 horsepower. The shit's going to move a little bit. Especially, I mean, you rattle, you get the tune-up just a little bit off, and you rattle the rings a little bit, or, I feel like it's gonna move a little bit. So I say we roll the thing over. Let's bring 4 and
4's already here.
3 and 4 to the top, right? 3 and 4.
Here's 4. So this would be 3, right?
Yep. I say we check those 2, and then after that I'll check all the mains. I don't care. Okay.
Let's see these bearings.
Huh?
Let's see these bearings.
Let's see them.
I'm sure they're fine. You have any ones in particular that you're going to pull off, or all of them?
No, not all of them. I don't want to. You know what they say, man. If something ain't broke, don't disturb it. I don't want to disturb any of these if they're okay. So the one that we were iffy about on the plugs was number 4. So I'm gonna check number 4, and then maybe check let's go 4 and 5. 4 and 5. And then I'll probably for sure pull this one off. And ooh, what was that? And if it looks fucking great underneath this, I probably won't even check another one. So let's see.
This one's 4.
Oh, it is. Man. I gotta retorque that. I don't think I moved it, but still.
Damn. 100 foot-pounds is a lot.
100.
Break that dumb swivel ratchet right off.
Yeah. And then bust my knuckles all up. And I feel like I'm walking on eggshells here.
What do you think it's going to look like?
I think they're going to look pretty new. I mean,
Hopefully.
I get it. Man, it's just tough to say. It's easy to say, man, yeah, of course it's going to look new. It's only got 10 passes on it. But man, maybe they weren't that hard of passes. Maybe it's just, since it's such a huge number, and the car made so much power, obviously because it went so fast, that we assume the worst, and I don't think it's going to be bad, but what if it is?
It's not great. Oh, it's the rod.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
You was looking at that,
yeah.
Going, ooh, man, it ain't great. Man, it don't smell great, that's for sure.
Okay. Brand new.
Speaking of brand new, I'm not going to use an old towel or rag. Man, got them old eyes,
Mm-hmm.
Let me see that light again, please.
Yep.
There's a little bit, you can see just a little bit of, see that scratch right there where it looked like a little bit of dirt got in there? But that's just a little bit of trash that got in there. That is not, and then see that right there? Can you feel it? I ain't upset about that at all. Okay, hold this.
Ugh. Phew.
Okay, I mean, it's not great, you know, but I mean, it's not that bad. I'm cool with it. 20, 25 passes, I say we check them again, you know, and depending on what they look like after that, we may have to roll some bearings in it, you know. But man, that's, if we go to the finals, that's 2 races.
Yeah.
You know? Which is totally fine. I'm cool with that. Okay. All right.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. That's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Rule number 5 up here.
What do you think?
May as well.
Check it. I feel like we kind of know what we wanted to know. It's before we pull this thing apart to put rods in it, we're probably gonna have to roll bearings in it at least once. You know what I mean? But as long as we keep an eye on the filter, once it gets bad, you know, then I say we do it. That's only what, 90 something?
Mm-hmm. Oops.
Yeah, well, you know, what are you gonna do? up. Let me put it here. That looks good.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they all should look. So basically the number 4 is the one that we rattled a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So hopefully it looks worse than the rest of them. And the worst one, if that's the worst one, totally fine with it. That right there, see how there's no copper? There's nothing showing. I'm good with it. Always gotta make sure it still has that little bit of end play in it, just in case one of the bearings didn't go in there right and you don't want to smash it. So, okay, now I'm gonna take off this one right here. And we're gonna see what it looks like. Man, in that thing's defense, it probably ain't been charged in a long time.
No, I charged it just the other day.
Oh.
But we've used it a lot since
then. Fuck that thing. That's what I saw a minute ago. Looked just like that. Did you get it? Must have loosened it up for you, huh? Okay, now I gotta pull these out.
Yep.
Oh, it stayed in there. That sucks. What do you think?
Good. Oh, yeah.
I don't even know why we checked it.
Way good.
That
Brand
right
new.
there literally looks brand new.
It's like it just came out of the Cleveland box.
Yep. Put her back in. Man, I mean,
not bad for a 4,000 horsepower small block.
I'm cool. I'm cool with it right now. Like, I'm not real sure I could be happier. Everything looks good. Everything seems happy. And in my opinion, and this opinion could be wrong,
It will be to someone.
we beat on this deal pretty good. You know, not a lot,
Yeah.
but we beat on it hard.
Severely.
don't know about everybody else, but I don't really like to bottom these things out. I always bottom them out and then come back half a turn.
That's the way I do it too. Bottom out and then pull it back out a little.
That's right. That's right. And then try it a couple more times. I don't know if anybody else has, but if I've busted a hole out on the bottom. It's weird, but I have. We're talking about engines.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done it on a lot of engines too.
Yeah. I also blew out the bottom of an engine hole. That's cool.
Yeah, it's over there breakdancing.
Should put that thing on TikTok. Get 2 million views.
Yep. Breakdancing socket.
Yep. We could even claim it's a 10 millimeter.
Yep.
Not on this though.
Yep. No, Sean don't mess with metric stuff.
I don't like to.
Sean even changes all his LS stuff to standard. Not really.
No.
But he don't like metric. This is America.
That's right. It just don't seem real American to put metric stuff on a 55 Chevy.
Man, that thing has got all the metric stuff in it now.
I know. But how can you get any more American than a 55 Chevy?
It really don't. I mean, look at that thing. We got some Bogart wheels that's going to be here for it this week. And then that 416 cubic inch LS is going to come to life. It's going to be a good week. We really need to, one of us needs to get the 1/2 inch version of that.
I'm ready. I'll do it as soon as the Snap-on guy gets here.
Bill it.
Okay, so if anybody remembers what we were talking about earlier about the notched out stuff that Proline did right here. Every one of these is notched out. This is why. Boom, right there. So every time these go through, right there. You can see how close that is. They had to come in here. They had to work everything out because, you know, because 4 1/4 stroke.
Yeah.
So, most generally, a small block contains, you know, maximum around 4-inch stroke.
But even then, like when people do the 383 strokers and everything that everybody's got, you know, you still got a clearance.
There's not a Chevy C10 truck out there that don't have a 383 stroker in it.
Yep.
Like if anybody looks on Marketplace like I do, because that's all I do is look on Marketplace. Every C10, and when I say C10, not squares, every 67 through 72 Chevy truck in the world, 383 stroker.
Yeah.
I think now we'll cover this thing up. Man, to be honest with you, we got what seems like a lot of time before NPK.
It's gonna go by quick.
I hope so, because if COVID is still a thing, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like now's the time. We're gonna go ahead and we'll put this in our vat. We'll clean this thing up, and we're gonna ship this thing back to Moroso, and see about having them make a spare that's just like that. And so we will probably flip this thing back over. I'll probably go ahead and put all of the rockers back on it with no push rods and no lifters. I might put the lifters back in it. Leave the push rods out to where there's no kind of pressure on the springs, because
Garrett gets mad at us when we leave them set like that.
Yeah. I don't know how good it is to leave them set on there. It can't be great. I don't know if it'll hurt them, but save your valve springs if you're not going to be running a motor in the next 3 months, you know, and we pull them off. We'll also spray a little bit of whatever, Max Film, WD-40, whatever in the cylinders, because this is an alcohol motor, and it'll make the cylinders rust.
It'll keep them from rusting and, you know, basically keep them from rusting.
Yep. Other than that, man, I don't know. I couldn't be happier. I'm stoked about how this thing did, how much power it makes. It obviously, we don't really know because not a lot of people's done this with this combo right here. And it seems pretty reliable. Like, we know that it can go 300 passes on the street at minimal boost, you know, 30 or less. What we don't know is how long it'll go at 70 pounds of boost.
Or 80.
So, but we're going to find out.
And not only did we run a bunch of boost more than we've ever ran, we ran quite a bit more RPMs than what we've ran before too. Like, we forget to talk about that. Like,
we did. So
we finally got up in the range that this motor was built for.
Yeah. So when we were making those passes down in Florida, we had a $9,500 RPM limit on this deal, and we hit it. So we had to move the thing out of the way. Like, literally, we turned it off because we wanted to go more than 9,500. So when we built this, I remember talking to Dillard at Proline, and he was like, what do you want to do with this deal? And I was like, well, I mean, what kind of RPM can we run? He goes, what kind of RPM do you want to run? I was like, I feel like it's going to need to run 10,000.
Yeah.
You know, small blocks, liable to, you're going to have to keep it up, you know, up in the RPMs a lot more than what you would with something that has a lot of torque, like a big block that is unable to run those RPMs. Probably shouldn't say unable, because there's 1,000 people out there who's going to say, I run my big block to fucking 92, you know, which, if you guys know Jeff Lutz, it's possible.
He starts his and puts it on the 9200 chip.
He starts his and puts it at 9500 and Rod checks it. You know, that's how he does it, you know, and man, his motors live, man.
He don't have a lot of motor troubles.
He doesn't have a whole lot of, I mean, rocker problems.
That's a whole different story.
That's a different story. But man, he runs his big block hard, you know, which is kind of unheard of for big blocks. Small blocks that don't make that type of torque, you want them to run a lot of RPM. They don't have to, but we normally shift this deal at 72, and the 1.2 at 72, and the 2.3, you know, I'd take it up, you know, all the way up to like 75. Well, we shifted the 1.2 at what, 91,
it was up
and we shifted the 2.3 at like 97, something like that. So
I like RPM.
It sounded like a sewing machine in the car. I know that.
Man,
like,
I bet.
Like it got to where, you know, sometimes when you're in the burnout and it's just so many RPMs and so much wheel speed, everything just kind of goes silent. That's what this thing was doing on a pass. And I don't know, I really can't explain anything else except, man, it was over quick.
Yeah.
Which, when you're in the car, you know how it is. You got a lot more time to think about it than everybody else that's watching the pass, or at least it feels like you got forever.
Yeah.
So, and you keep on thinking, man, everything's going good so far. That's what I think whenever I'm making a pass. I'm like, oh shit, oh, there's the 1.2, you know, and then there's the 2.3. Everything's good, you know. It didn't shake. Everything's rocking, you know. And then you start thinking, oh shit, get ready to hit the chutes, you know. And then in this car, you think, nope, the tires aren't on the ground, you know. So there's a whole lot that runs through your head in that
3-point what?
in that less than 4 seconds.
See, that's crazy to hear you describe it like that, because I've been a full second slower than you and more, and I couldn't tell you everything that went on like you just did in a pass. Like,
I've done it a lot. And I feel like
it's a whole different ball game when this is what you actually do versus someone like myself that just steps in a car. Like, you don't notice everything that you're able to notice because of your experience.
Well, ask me as soon as we get out from making a pass I can tell you a lot.
Yeah.
I can fully explain everything that went through my mind on that one certain pass.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a dream. Like as soon as you wake up, man, you can tell everybody everything you want about your dream that you just had. But as the day goes on, it kind of goes away. You kind of forget about it, you know. But I do know that it's from starting the car till I hit the chutes and start turning off the track, man. It's unexplainable, you know. And this is the reason that we do it. Yeah. You know, it's like people have their own hobbies. People jump out of airplanes, which, you know, I'd like to do that too. Yeah. But it's whatever type of adrenaline you go for. This is what we go for. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to complain and bitch and say, man, back on the track, huh? Yeah. Get back to the streets. Man, that's a totally different type. Mm-hmm. We're going a lot slower, but man, in the car on them sketchy streets, it's two totally different experiences, and I like them both. Yeah. I've never been able to experience the track thing the way that we did in Bradenton, and now I want more. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like that drug that you can't get enough of, and it didn't matter what we had to do while we were down there. I was ready to make another pass. Let's get in the car. Let's go back to the starting line, you know? And it might be different if we had a lot of problems. But luckily, man, it was flawless. Yeah, everything went amazing. Everything went good. And it was just pass. Basically, all we did.
Steve yell at Sean. Pass. Steve yell at Sean.
Yeah. Basically, all we did was cool the thing off. Yep. You know what I mean? Fill it back up with fuel and go make another rip. Yep. You know? And that is something that it's tough to explain, man. But you don't hear. It's almost like a pitcher on the mound. You don't hear nothing else. You just focus in on the finish line, and you don't think about the car next to you. You don't think about, man, there's not much you do think about, you know, and everything just seems to go silent, you know, unless you're tire shaking, and then it's a totally different experience. Yeah. Because then it's just total destruction and disaster going on around you. Which I like this one better. Yeah. I like the smooth. And there was a couple of passes there that I was like, I got out of the car and I was, oh man, that sucks. Because it was so smooth and it was effortless. And
boom,
a lot of people say, you know, that, smooth is fast. Mm-hmm. Smooth is fast. And I've had some passes that didn't go 440s that felt way faster than anything that we did in Bradenton.
The first 8 years of the OG.
Yes. Like it felt like it was ripping the car apart, like I was being shot into space, you know, in the OG just to run a 470. Yeah, we're going to hit ludicrous. And then it's like, stop. No, we can't stop. We got to slow down first. You know? So, and that's what it felt like in the OG the whole time. And then in this car, we run 0.3 faster than we've ever ran before. Mm-hmm. And it felt slow when you got out of the car because everything was right and everything was smooth. You know, and I can understand how some racers go really fast. I may not even should say this. But then when shit hits the fucking fan, they don't know what to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of racers out there who's never experienced a race car the way that we have. They just get in something that is already at this point.
I don't know how they do it, man.
But it's just, it's smooth and it's nice and it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's smooth, and you don't really even feel like you're going that fast versus a car that's trying to come apart around you, you know, and you're trying to go faster every pass, but fuck fixing the car, you know, you got to make more horsepower, you know, if the car wants to go faster, you don't fix the car, you make more horsepower. And that's what we did forever with the OG. Mm-hmm. Like the chassis is junk, the car's junk, but we made a lot of power. And we won a lot of races like that. Mm-hmm. And we got lucky a lot that the car stayed together, you know. But now it's just totally different when you got a chassis that matches the car and it's all nice and it all goes together and everything's smooth. So, yes. They got that saying for a reason, man. It's like a sewing machine. You know, that's what it felt like. Everything was smooth. Everything was quiet. Everything was, you know, till you get to the finish line. Yeah. It's over. It's over quick. But that's that drug that I've been wanting more ever since we left Florida. So for the people who say, get back on the street where you guys belong, look, man, I'm not going to say where we belong. No. You know?
In race cars, wherever race cars may be racing.
Wherever we can race, that's where we belong. Yep. So whether it be on the street, which I love, or the track, which I also love, you know, I'm gonna do what I love. And it's not just one thing. It's a bunch of shit. I love that fucking Impala, or that Caprice behind us. Doesn't make any sense, but I do. It'd be a lot less work for me if I just wouldn't have ever bought that thing. But I love it.
Yeah,
you know?
We'd just be doing something else, though.
Yep. So, okay, I'm gonna wrap this deal up. We got the cam right there to ship off to Comp Cams tomorrow. We got lucky when we found this.
Have y'all ever seen a camshaft that has never been machined?
So this right here, we got this from our buddy, who's a Yankee.
DeVito.
Yep. Old John DeVito sent me this. And a 4.5 bore space cam is really hard to find.
That thing's crazy looking.
So this right here, he sends to me, and it's never been ground. So we are going to ship this off to Comp Cams. Trent over at Comp Cams, he's the one that ground the cam that's in this deal. So we're gonna ship him this. He's gonna grind it to the same as that one, and then this will go in our spare. The 4.5 bore space, which is longer than the 4.4, which is the normal Chevy, man, they're hard to find. This is the only one that I would have taken any cam. The cam that's in this one right here was ground for a nitrous motor when we got it. So we sent it to Comp, and Comp reground it, which, you know, with a regrind, there's only so much you can do. You can't make it any bigger. You can only make it smaller, you know. So somebody's here. We will ship this to them, and then we got the other set of lifters for the big block that we're going to send back to Jessel to have them rebuilt.
It's big 1-inch lifters.
Yeah. And man, we're going to be on our way to having a spare. I can't believe it. I know I talk about the spare engine a lot, guys, but
well, it's just cool to be able to be in a position to finally have a spare.
It's always been out of my reach to have a spare, you know, and we've talked about everybody else having a spare but us. So, man, we're going to get to have a spare
Level
now.
the playing field a little bit.
Yes, that's what we've been working at all year, even with the YouTube videos, man. All the money that we've been making, all the money that we've been saving up, which I'm still gonna have to get a loan, you know, to cover the spare motor. It's to be more competitive in everything that we do. If we have a spare sitting there, we can lean on this one a little bit harder. And if we can win one more race by leaning on this a little bit harder and not being scared to hurt it. You know, if you hurt it, that's part of racing. It's gonna happen. But if it's the only one you got and you're gonna miss the next 2 races because you lean on this, man, you're gonna tend to not do it. And even us, we're pretty stupid, but still there's the bigger picture of, what do they say? Save it and race another day. We're not really the save it, race another day type cats. So we want to be able to have that spare sitting there just in case. It'd be amazing not to use it, you know, but, and one of these days you never know if MPK doesn't work out, or if we don't race at the track, to put this back in the OG, you know, have a small block for both cars.
Yeah, we could just build a third. Why is that tow truck in the truck? We could build a third and then just have a spare for either car.
We can't afford the second. So, but you know what they say, man, may as well order 2, right? Yeah. Like Utah. Give me 2. So.